All right, let's see. Make sure we're streaming. Seem to be live. Check this. All right. Okay, it's working. All righty. Back to Zoom. Okay. Today is a holiday on the Vaishnav calendar. And it is the commemoration and celebration of the appearance day of Sri Advaita Acarya. So we're going to speak about Advaita Acarya tonight with a little presentation. And let's chat first. All righty, everybody. Okay, we're going to chant Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koromore Tuma Binake Dayalo Jagat Samsare Patita Pavan Mahidu Davavatara Nosama Putita Prabhu Napayavayara Papa Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Pabalokanna Koro Ami Purutuki Daya Koro Sritapati Advaita Goswami Namakri Pukule Pai Chaitanya Sanatana Ruparaduna Bhatta Yoga Sri Jiva Apapulokanath Jaya Chokru Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivas Ramachandra Sangamage Narottamdas Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koromore Tumabinake Dayalo Jagat Samsare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Janko, Haribo, Haribo, Jaya Advaita Jaya. Advaita Jaya, Jaya Advaita Jaya, Jaya Advaita Jaya. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parabhidikacharya, also Teta Satashi Shrimad, His Divine Grace Sabaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Hudas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopikapanath Sayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuram Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Srimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya, Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini, Tinamani Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pajarni, Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarni. Okay, let's read the translation. My dear Lord, please be merciful to me, because who can be more merciful than your Lordship within these three worlds? Your incarnation has just reclaimed the conditioned fallen souls, but I assure you that you will not find a more fallen soul than me. Therefore my claim is first. My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always joyful in spiritual bliss. Since you always appear very happy, I have come to you because I am most unhappy. If you kindly put your glance over me, I may also become happy. My dear Advaita Prabhu, husband of Sita, you are so kind. Please be kind to me. If you are kind to me naturally, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda will also be kind to me. I pray for the mercy of Swarup Damodar, the six Goswamis, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatana Goswami, Shri Bhatta Raghunath Goswami, Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, and Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, and Lokanath Prabhu. I, Narottama Das, prayed to the merciful Srinivas Acharya, and I always desire the company of Ramachandra. So, Narottama Das Thakur Ki Jai. So today is the glorious appearance day of Advaita Acharya. So today we're going to be speaking about Advaita Acharya, and we're going to use a presentation to talk about Advaita Acharya. Let me just make sure, yeah, the sound level's all right, everything's good. And so we're going to share the screen right now and allow you, I think this is the right screen. I think it's the right one. Oh, screen 2. I think this is the right screen. Let's see. Make sure. Make sure it is the right screen. Let's see. Okay, it is. Just checking on my second monitor there to make sure it is. All right. Oh, I have to. Supposed to see the other screen. There's two screens I'm supposed to see. Give me a second. Let me stop sharing for a second. Let's see. Huh. Interesting. Let me just try another screen here. That's one. Try this one. see what happens. All right, looks like it's going to work. Okay, that's good. That's what I want. All right, gang. Let me just get this set up. Okay. We're ready to go. So today we are celebrating Advaita Acharya's appearance. And we understand all these different factors about Advaita Acharya and the Panchatattva by the mercy of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, without whom we would have no knowledge of anything spiritual. So, Om Ganat Timiranda Shah Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur and Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So first we're going to talk about the Panchatattva. For those of you who don't know what the Panchatattva means, that means the 5 truths. The 5 truths means the 5 entities who represent different aspects of reality. 3 of the entities in the Panchatattva, that is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita Acharya, and Lord Nityananda, are Vishnu Tattva. Now, Vishnu Tattva means, for those of you who don't know, God. Yes, Vishnu Tattva is God. And so, I think you can probably see the arrow. Hopefully you'll be able to see the arrow. Yeah, you can see the arrow. So there's Advaita Acharya right there, using the arrow to point to Advaita Acharya. And then you have Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda there. So this is the Panchatattva, 3 members of the Panchatattva. So Lord Chaitanya, of course, is Krishna in his original aspect, who is in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Lord Nityananda is Balaram. And Advaita Acharya is described as sometimes as Mahavishnu or as Sadashiva. He's also a coward boy in Braj. And he has many different aspects. But anyway, so he is Vishnu Tattva. So you may say, Sadashiva, I thought Lord Shiva is a special category by himself, and he's not Vishnu Tattva. Well, Lord Shiva is not Vishnu Tattva, the Lord Shiva we have in this world. But the original Vishnu form from whom Lord Shiva expands is called Sadashiva, who has a place in the spiritual world. And he is non-different from Mahavishnu. So, of course, the name or the word Shiva is contained or part of the Vishnu Sahasra Nama. That is the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. So Advaita Acharya, and then we see the other devotees here. Not sure which one is, this is probably Srivas, or maybe that's Srivas. Anyway, so that's the Panchatattva. And of course there's Mahavishnu, whom Advaita Acharya is a plenary part. Now, when we talk about plenary part, it means the same plane. All these different expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are all the same person. But the same person, God, is able to be in an infinite number of places simultaneously doing different things. And of course that's described, as I've mentioned many, many times before, in the Brahma Samhita. In the Brahma Samhita, you see Advaita Chuta Anadi Radanta Rupa Majam Puranam Pasham Navayovanam Cha. There's one God. He has unlimited forms and unlimited places. That's the nature of God. He could do something that's impossible for the rest of us. So, as I mentioned before, in Krishna Lila, Advaita Acharya is a coward boy. So here you see Advaita Acharya with the other coward boys. So he has many different aspects. And of course, as his expansion as Lord Shiva in this world, he acts as the Digpala. Digpala means the protector, the guardian of the different aspects of the holy Dham. If you go to Vrindavan, you'll find Gopishra Mahadev. Gopishra Mahadev, of course, is the female manifestation of Shiva who guards Vrindavan. And then in Radhakund, you have Kundeshwara Mahadev. And then Kamyavan, you have Kameshwara Mahadev. And so many different expansions of Lord Shiva, who are ultimately expansions of Advaita Acharya, reside in the Holy Dham and protect the Holy Dham. Here's a close-up of Kundeshwara Mahadev. Kundeshwara Mahadev. Actually, the first time when you arrive at Radhakund area, you're supposed to get permission from Kundeshwara Mahadev before you do the Radhakund Parikrama. Usually when we take devotees around, it takes a whole day, or at least 3 or 4 hours, to see the major temples at the Radhakund area. We actually take 3 days to see Govardhan and Radhakund. 1 day for each half of Govardhan and 1 day for Radhakund area. And so Advaita Acharya was born in Shantipur. Some biographers say he was born in Srihata. But in any case, this is considered to be his place of residence in Shantipur. Not necessarily the place where he appeared, but the place of residence, the place of bhajan, his house. Of course, this is a modern iteration of his house in Shantipur. And he is considered, his father is considered to be an incarnation of Kuvera. That's why you see all the gold here. Because the gold, that's also Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's color. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as what? Gauranga. Gauranga Balite Havi Pulaka Sharir. So this is... And so Advaita Acharya's father was named Kubera Pandit, and his mother was named Naba Devi, the wife of Kuvera. So, a very auspicious childhood. So here's a picture of the mother and father of Advaita Acharya. So before Advaita Acharya's mother gave birth to him, she heard a voice from the sky predicting Advaita Acharya's advent. And not only did she hear a voice from the sky predicting Advaita Acharya's advent, but she had a vision of Hari Hara. That means half Krishna or Vishnu and half Lord Shiva. And there's actually a deity in a place, Hari Hara, there in Mayapur Dham. And so obviously, of course, Advaita Acharya is not the Shiva of this world, but the Shiva of this world expands from Advaita Acharya. And Lord Shiva is known as what? The greatest of all the Vaishnavas, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. And so he had all the auspicious, Advaita Acharya, that, in other words, had all the auspicious signs when he was born. And these signs are variously described in the Vedic literatures, such as having arms that reach down to the knees. And the reason we're seeing a lotus flower here is that he was given the name Kama Laksha. Aksha means like eyes. Kamala Aksha. Kamala, or Kama Laksha, to put them both words together, means the lotus-eyed one. So he had lotus eyes. And he performed many, many miracles when he was young. Let me just speak about some of these miracles that are mentioned here. One of the miracles, he he performed was when he was young, he revived the son of the king at the Kali temple. Then he offered his obeisances to the Kali deity, and the deity split into many, many, many pieces. And the reason that that happened was because it was predicted that any deity that he offered his obeisances to, let me just see, someone sent a message. Yes, Lord Shiva is also the guardian of Navadvip Dham. Just want to check my messages at the same time. Okay. So, anyway, any deity he offered his obeisances to was, if the deity wasn't there, it was just some stone, they would split into millions of pieces. Another miracle he performed was when he was very young. He was asked to get a lotus flower from the Ganges, and there were snakes and thorns, and he was able to walk on top of the flowers in the water and get those lotus flowers. After the death of his mother and father, he went to Gaya and performed pilgrimage. Well, let me just hold on a second. Oh, I see where we are. He performed pilgrimage. We'll talk about this in a second. It's about Advaita Acharya's marriage. He performed pilgrimage, and when he was on pilgrimage, he met Madhavendra Puri, and then he arrived in Vrindavan. And when he arrived in Vrindavan, he uncovered the deity of Madan Gopal, which was right at the base of the Dwadasadicha hill. So anyway, we don't have slides for these things. And having uncovered Madan Gopal, he eventually gave him to this Brahmin Chobe family in Mathura, and that Brahmin family later on gave that deity to Sanatan Goswami. There's a whole interesting story about that. Sanatan Goswami came to the Brahmin family's house one day, didn't know the deity was there, but saw the Brahmin family's son was playing with the deity just like he was his little friend. And he was shocked to see that. He said, "You should follow the rules and regulations of deity worship. Put the deity on the altar. Follow the Archana Paddhati." And the Brahmin started doing that. Sanatan Goswami had a dream that night, and Krishna was upset with him and said, "You have spoiled all my fun. I was having an intimate relationship with the son of the Brahmin, and now you just made them worship me in a way that's just like not intimate at all. It's just awe and reverence. So therefore, you're going to have to take me." So the Brahmin, Chobe Brahmin, had a dream that he should give the deity to Sanatan Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami had a dream they should take the deity, and he got Madan Gopal. Later became known as Madan Mohan. So also while Advaita Acharya was traveling, he found the Ananta Samhita, which is a very ancient Vedic literature which predicted the advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and had descriptions about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So let's go ahead. So anyways, Advaita Acharya married two ladies who were both sisters. One was Sita Devi, and the other one was Shri. And Sita Devi is considered to be an expansion of Yogamaya, or the appearance of Yogamaya, and her expansion is considered was Shri, her sister. And Advaita Acharya married these two ladies. And Advaita Acharya is known oftentimes as Sita Pati. It's interesting, he's known in terms of his wife's name. Now normally that would be very embarrassing for a man to be known as, the wife's husband. What's your name? My name is so-and-so's husband. But there's no problem with that, because just like we have the Lord and his consort, we say Radha Krishna, or Krishna is Radha's property. Radha's lover is Krishna. Okay, so it's very similar. So, anyway, that's the story about the lotus flowers like that. So eventually he goes to Gaya, and I mentioned before, And he meets Madhavendra Puri in Gaya. After his parents died, he went on pilgrimage. There's the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, which are in Gaya. And people go to Gaya to perform what's called pinda. That means offering oblations to their departed ancestors so that they can save their ancestors from a hellish condition. So after that, he went to Braj and he discovered the deity of Madan and Gopal, which we just talked about. And he associated with Madhavendra Puri. Here we see Madhavendra Puri's sitting place, which is right on the banks of the Radha Kund. A very beautiful, isolated place, which we've been to many times before. And here's the deity of Madan Mohan. And of course, the deity of Madan Mohan is now in Karoli, in Rajasthan. Originally, the deity was in Vrindavan. He's one of the original deities installed by Brajanabha, who is Krishna's great-grandson. And this deity was taken out of Braj to save him from the hands of Aurangzeb's people, the Mughal emperor who was destroying all the temples. In fact, the original temple of Madan Mohan was desecrated by the Mughals, and later on they had to build a new temple because the first temple was actually desecrated. Oops, let me go back. So then he went to Shantipur, back to home, and he had the association with Haridas Thakur. And he respected Haridas Thakur, showing that Krishna consciousness is transcendental to all caste distinctions. He respected Haridas Thakur so much that he offered him the Shraddha plate at the time of his performing Pinda. Now, what is the Shraddha plate? The Shraddha plate is the plate of prasad that's offered to the best of the Brahmanas. So he considered Haridas Thakur to be the best of the Brahmanas because he was absorbed in the holy names. And of course that verse states, Aho bata swad pachato gariyan yajive vagredar partide namatubhyam tapush shahuvar brahmanuchar nama gunanti yete. That if one is chanting the holy names, it is very wonderful that even if one has been born in a family of dog eaters, swapachato gariyan, then he's become a Brahmin. So he showed his transcendental vision of Haridas Thakur. He also defeated a Digvijay there. And this is also Shantipur inside his house. And there he took initiation from Madhavendra Puri. So Advaita Acarya is the godbrother of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master. So this is very important to understand this because not only by age, he lived it. Actually, another thing I forgot to mention in the beginning, Advaita Acarya stayed on this earth for 125 years. So he was present before Lord Chaitanya appeared, and he was present after Lord Chaitanya disappeared from this world. And so he was superior, according to the Vedic system, by age and also by initiation, because he was initiated by Madhavendra Puri, who was the spiritual master of Ishwara Puri. So he was the godbrother of Ishwara Puri, and therefore the grand spiritual master, or no, not the spiritual uncle, sorry. Spiritual uncle of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu naturally had to respect him. But we're going to hear in a few minutes how Lord Chaitanya didn't respect him at one particular juncture. And this is actually Ramuna, where Shirachori Gopinath is. This is the deity of Shirachori Gopinath. And he visited there in Ramuna, and this is Madhavendra. And of course that's also a place where Madhavendra Puri resided for a long time. And this is the samadhi of Sripad Madhavendra Puri, which you can find in Ramuna. I believe I took this picture because I was there in Ramuna. I'm pretty sure I took this particular picture of the samadhi of Madhavendra Puri, and the samadhi of Rasikananda is also there. Okay, now here we see Jagannath Mishra, at least deities of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata, who are the mother and father of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, Advaita Acharya moved to Navadvip, and he gave initiation to Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata, and initiated them into what we call the Gopal mantra, the 4-syllable Gopal mantra. And Advaita Acharya knew that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to appear in Navadvip and appear as the son of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata. And he knew that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in order to evoke or invoke the Lord's presence on this earth, Advaita Acharya begged the Lord to appear. And his primary motive for begging the Lord to appear was his great compassion for all the conditioned souls in this world. He was observing all the atheism, impersonalism, materialism that was present, even in Navadvip, because Navadvip was considered to be the seat of learning, basically, of all India. Practically speaking, the most intellectual personalities came from the Navadvip area, such as, or the Bengal area, such as Srila Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Goswami. All these came from the same basic area, and they were very highly intelligent. So Advaita Acharya, seeing the plight of the conditioned souls at that particular time, what to speak of the plight right now, he took compassion upon them, and he was crying out to Krishna. He was thinking, I may be God, but I'm not capable of liberating these people. These people are extremely fallen. And so he was praying, Krishna, please appear. And in order to invoke the presence of Krishna and manifest, or cause Krishna to manifest himself, he was worshipping the Shalagram Shila with Tulsi leaves and Ganges water. And here you see the picture of him doing that. And so eventually, when he finds out that Lord Chaitanya will appear, he goes to Sachi Mata and basically worships her womb with sandalwood pulp, and he circumambulates her. And everybody's wondering, why is this old gentleman smearing sandalwood pulp on such? I mean, it's completely unusual, a little radical. And why is this old gentleman doing this? Because he understands that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was within her womb. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, Advaita Acharya's wife was always assisting Sachi Mata, who was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mother, even before birth, and then after the birth, and then during the birth. She was like functioning almost like a midwife with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's brother, Vishwarupa, appeared. So Vishwarupa is the older brother of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And basically, he is Balaram, or an expansion of Lord Nityananda, who is Balaram Hoila Nitai. So what happened is that Vishwarupa used to associate a lot with Advaita Acharya, after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, of course. And associating with Advaita Acharya, sometimes Lord Chaitanya would go over there to call Vishwarupa back to take prasadam. And Advaita Acharya, when he saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or Nimai, who was Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name at that particular time, became so much immersed in ecstasy. So this is the most attractive Supreme Personality of Godhead. So eventually, Vishvarup, who was extremely detached from this world, decided to leave home and take sannyas. And the reason he decided to leave home and take sannyas is that he overheard his parents planning for his marriage. And so he got very upset. And in the middle of the night, he left, took sannyas. And Sachi Mata and Jagannath Mishra, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's parents, were extremely upset. And Sachi Mata especially was blaming Advaita Acharya for Vishvarup taking sannyas. And she even called Advaita Acharya Dvaita rather than Advaita. And Dvaita means two-faced, basically. Advaita means one, Advaita, not two. Advaita means two. So she was saying to him, you are two-faced. In other words, you are acting like a politician. You're lying to me. You convinced my son to take sannyas. And because of that, Lord Chaitanya considered that she had made an offense at the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya. And because of that, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was giving love of God to all of his devotees, he didn't give love of God to Sachimata, his mother. And everyone was asking, why don't you give Sachimata love of God? And Lord Chaitanya explained she committed an offense to Advaita Acharya. And so everybody was saying, what can be done? And Sachimata then ran and grabbed the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya, begged for forgiveness, and Advaita Acharya basically touched her feet too. And so then Lord Chaitanya gave her pure love of Godhead. But Vishvarup took sannyas, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was not allowed to study after that particular time, because his parents thought, because Vishvarup studied so much, he learned about the temporary nature of this material world, so we're not going to let Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu learn about these things. Of course, eventually his parents let him actually study again when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down on the cooking pots. That's another story. Okay. So, this is actually a picture of when Lord Chaitanya was giving out pure love of God to everyone, and except for his mother, during the kirtan performances in the house of Srivas Thakur. So eventually, we know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was tricked by Lord Nityananda to think that he was jumping into the Yamuna River. He had gone to Vrindavan, when actually he had gone to the Ganges River and right outside the house of Advaita Acharya. So it was after Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. So he sees Advaita Acharya coming on a boat towards him with dry clothes, and he thinks, how come you're here in Vrindavan? But then he understands Lord Nityananda has played a trick on him. Of course, that trick was very interesting because the Ganges River on one particular side is considered to have so much Yamuna water in it, because the Yamuna enters the Ganges at the Triveni, that it's considered to be the Yamuna, so Lord Nityananda in essence didn't lie. So then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the house of Advaita Acharya. And when he went to the house of Advaita Acharya, he took prasadam. He was there with Lord Nityananda, and they had some very, very interesting interactions. So I'm going to read a little bit from the Chaitanya Charitamrita about these interactions. These interactions involved so-called fighting between Advaita Acharya and Lord Nityananda, which is a part of the pastimes that occurred. So they arrived after not taking so much prasadam for 2 or 3 days, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And what happens is that Lord Nityananda says, let me read. Okay. I have undergone fasting for 3 days continuously. Today I'd hoped to break my fast. And this is from the Majjhīla, 3rd chapter, text 79 to, I think, 101. Although Lord Chaitanya was thinking that the quantity of food was enormous, Lord Nityananda, on the contrary, was thinking it not even a morsel. He had been fasting for 3 days and had greatly hoped to break fast on that day. Indeed, he said, although I am invited to eat by Advaita Acarya, today also is a fast. So small a quantity of food will not even fill half my belly. Advaita Acarya replied, Sir, you are a mendicant traveling on pilgrimage. Sometimes you eat fruits and roots, and sometimes you go fasting. I am a poor Brahmin, and you come to my home. Please be satisfied with whatever little food you have received and give up your greedy mentality. Lord Nityananda Prabhu replied, Whatever I may be, you have invited me. Therefore you must supply as much as I want to eat. His Divine Grace Advaita Acarya, after hearing the statement of Nityananda Prabhu, took to the opportunity presented by the joking words and spoke to him as follows. Advaita Acarya said, You are a reject Paramahamsa, and you have accepted the renounced order of life just to fill up your belly. I can understand that your business is to give trouble to Brahmanas. Advaita Acarya accused Lord Nityananda, saying, You can eat 20 manas of rice. I am a poor Brahmin. How shall I get so much rice? Whatever you have, though it be a palmful of rice, please eat it and get up. Don't show your madness and strew the remnants of food here and there. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate and talked with Advaita Acarya jokingly. After eating half of each vegetable preparation given to him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu abandoned it and went on to the next. As soon as half of the vegetable in the pot was finished, Advaita Acarya filled it up again. In this way, as the Lord finished half of preparation, Advaita Acarya again and again filled it up. After filling a pot with vegetables, Advaita Acarya requested them to eat more. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, How much more can I go on eating? Advaita Acarya said, Please do not give up. Whatever I have already given you, now whatever I am giving, you may eat half and leave half. In this way, by submitting various requests, Advaita Acarya made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda eat. Thus, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fulfilled all the desires of Advaita Acarya. Again, Nityananda Prabhu jokingly said, My belly is not yet filled up. Please take away your food. I have not taken the least of it. After saying this, Lord Nityananda took a handful of rice and threw it on the floor in front of him as if he were very angry. When 2 or 4 pieces of the thrown rice touched his body, Advaita Acarya began to dance in various ways with the rice still stuck to his body. When the rice thrown by Lord Nityananda touched his body, Advaita Acarya thought himself purified by the touch of remnants thrown by Paramahamsa Nityananda. Therefore he began joking. Advaita Acarya began dancing, not joking. Advaita Acarya jokingly said, My dear Nityananda, I invited you. Indeed, I have received the results. You have no fixed caste or dynasty. By nature, you are a madman. To make me a madman like you, you have thrown the remnants of your food at me. You did not even fear the fact that I'm a Brahmin. Nityananda Prabhu replied, These are the remnants of food left by Lord Krishna. If you take them to be ordinary remnants, you have committed an offense. Srila Nityananda Prabhu continued, If you invite at least 100 sannyasis to your home and feed them sumptuously, your offense will be nullified. Advaita Acarya replied, I shall never again invite another sannyasi, for it is a sannyasi who has who has spoiled all my Brahminical smriti regulations. Very funny interactions that we have between Lord Nityananda and Advaita Acarya. So we wanted to read that. And every year, after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started residing in Jagannath Puri, Advaita Acarya went to Puri to see Lord Chaitanya. While he was in Puri, he was asked by a particular gentleman to name Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master. And Advaita Acharya said, Ishvara Puri and Keshava Bharati of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual masters. And therefore, Advaita Acharya's son, Achyutananda, chastised his father. And he said to his father, you're wrong. This is nonsense, thinking that anyone can be the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Advaita Acharya was so pleased with his son, in spite of this being a violation of the etiquette, where a son respects the father. In fact, Advaita Acharya had 6 sons. 3 of the sons were devotees, very, very good devotees, headed up by Achyutananda. And 3 of the sons were either impersonalists or materialists, and they were actually rejected by Advaita Acharya. He no longer considered them to be his sons because they were not devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one time, one of Advaita Acharya's servants, named Kamalakanta Vishwas, was begging from King Prataparudra to excuse a debt that Advaita Acharya had. And when Lord Chaitanya heard about this, he got angry at this Kamalakanta Vishwas and said, how can you think Advaita Acharya is a poor man? And of course, Advaita Acharya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can never be poor. And Advaita Acharya participated with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the Rath Yatra ceremony. Very famous pastimes took place at the Indradyumna Lake. Now, what happened there is that there was mock fighting between Advaita Acharya and Lord Nityananda, as we talked about before. There was sometimes mock fighting between both of them. And sometimes there was splashing of water on each other. This is in the Indradyumna Lake. And Lord Nityananda would sometimes splash water on Advaita Acharya's face, and Advaita Acharya would use so many bad words. Of course, not really bad words. And fight with Lord Nityananda. Another time, Advaita Acharya, here's a picture of that, all these very erudite personalities having water fights. So Advaita Acharya would chastise Lord Nityananda with bad words. So at the Gundicha temple, actually, Gundicha represents Vrindavan. When Lord Jagannath goes to Gundicha, he takes on the mood of a Brajavasi. When he's in the Jagannath temple, then he's in the mood of awe and reverence, sort of like Jagannath, the Lord of the universe. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates also took on similar moods. And here at the bottom, you see Advaita Acharya fighting with Lord Nityananda. Water fights. Very, very interesting. And so another thing happened in this lake is that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called for Advaita Acharya, and he said, you should act as Seshanag. Seshanag, of course, is the serpent bed of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lay on Advaita Acharya and floated in the Indradyumna Lake. It's quite a funny story. So now we'll talk about the disappearance pastime of Advaita Acharya, which is not our favorite pastime, but it's interesting. Advaita Acharya, incidentally, gave Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the message that it was time to leave the planet. So after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associate, Jagadananda, exhibited his anger, and there's a whole wonderful story about that. Then what happened, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him, Jagadananda, to Navadvip to associate with Advaita Acharya. And there, when he was associated with Advaita Acharya, he was given a message to give to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he brought that message back. And this message reads as follows. Whoops, I skipped by accident to the next slide. I didn't want to do that. He said, Please inform Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is acting like a madman, that everyone here has become mad like him. Inform him also that in the marketplace, rice is no longer in demand. Further tell him that those now in ecstatic love are no longer interested in the material world. Also tell Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that one who has become a madman in ecstatic love, Advaita Acharya, has spoken these words. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took this as an indication that it was time to leave this world. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said before he left this world, and this is, of course, the Tota Gopinath deity, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered. But right after he got that order from Advaita Acharya, he said, that is his order. And Swarup Damodar Goswami asked Lord Chaitanya, what is the meaning of this sonnet? I could not understand it. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Advaita Acharya is a great worshipper of the Lord and is very expert in regulative principles enjoined in the Vedic literatures. Advaita Acharya invites the Lord to come and be worshipped, and to perform the worship he keeps the deity for some time. After the worship is completed, he sends the deity somewhere else. I do not know the meaning of this sonnet, nor do I know what is Advaita in Advaita Prabhu's mind. Advaita Acharya is a great mystic. No one can understand him. He is expert in writing sonnets that even I myself cannot understand. Advaita. So then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to enter the Tota Gopinath deity, who you see here is the sitting down deity of Krishna, beautiful deity in Jagannath Puri. And in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this world because of the message of Advaita Acharya, who also was the one who brought Lord Chaitanya into this world by requesting the Supreme Personality of Godhead to appear. So, Advaita Acharya left this world in Shantipur at a temple to a deity named Madan Gopal. Not the same Madan Gopal that was found in Vrindavan, but this is a deity of Madan Gopal. So what happened is that Advaita Acharya called all the devotees, and he expressed pain as to how people were not properly respecting Lord Chaitanya. So all the Vaishnavas came, had a kirtan, and Advaita Acharya was crying out, where is my Gauranga? Where is my Gauranga? Where is my Gauranga? Here he is. He entered the temple of Madan Gopal and disappeared from this world. So this is the Madan Gopal temple in Shantipur, and here are the deities of Madan Gopal, the deities in the temple, whom this is the deity room in which Advaita Acharya disappeared. So that's the story of Advaita Acharya's disappearance. And this happened in Shantipur. So all glories to Advaita Acharya. Okay, so let's, okay. So we're back in the regular screen. So I think I just have one more story to tell about Advaita Acharya, and then we'll end. We're not going to have questions today. There's another story I wanted to read. And this is the story, very interesting story, of how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised Advaita Acharya. I referred to that earlier in the class. And how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu normally respected Advaita Acharya, but Advaita Acharya didn't like getting respect from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wanted to worship Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here's the story. So I'm going to read. This is from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Okay. Well, it's quite a long story. I don't know if we have time. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to summarize part of it and read part of it. So he wanted Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to chastise him, so he began to preach impersonal philosophy, particularly from a book called the Yoga Vasishta. And that, of course, made Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very angry. In this Yoga Vasishta, it says, devotion to Vishnu has no power. Impersonalism is the life of all spiritual knowledge. And so in this way, he was actually offending the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but deliberately doing this so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would chastise him. Haridas Thakur understood what Advaita Acharya was doing, so Haridas Thakur was laughing and laughing to hear this. So Lord Chaitanya decided to go to Shantipur to chastise Advaita Acharya. So he and Nityananda proceeded to Shantipur, and on the way to Shantipur they had a little adventure at the house of a Shakta, so-called sannyasi, who was trying to feed them or give them liquor to drink. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to purify himself, jumped in the Ganges River, and he and Lord Nityananda swam all the way to Shantipur in the Ganges River. So there's a long story about that in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. This is all from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. And we're going to skip ahead. So to the story of Lord Chaitanya chastising Advaita Acharya. So here we go. So Lord Chaitanya says, Nada, who is Advaita Acharya, broke my sleep and brought me here. Now he hides the truth of devotional service and preaches impersonalism. Today I will see him with my own eyes. I will punish him. Today everyone will see what happens to impersonalists. So they arrived there. And everybody was understanding Lord Chaitanya is coming with great anger. And Advaita started preaching impersonalism even more wildly than before. So, accompanied by Lord Nityananda, this is a direct quote from the Chaitanya Bhagavat, and his face filled with anger, Lord Chaitanya went to see Advaita. Preaching impersonalism, Advaita happily swayed to and fro, seeing Lord Chaitanya. Haridas Thakur offered Dandavat obeisances. Advaita's son Achyuta also offered obeisances. And Advaita Acharya's wife, in her heart, offered obeisances. And she was really worried, seeing that God was angry. Lord Chaitanya was as brilliant, like 10 million suns. Everyone felt fear take birth in their hearts, seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His face filled with anger. Lord Chaitanya said, Nada, look at the impersonalism and devotional service and tell me of the two, which is better. Advaita Acharya replied, impersonalism is always better. Unless one is an impersonalist, how can one hope to attain devotional service? Hearing Advaita Acharya say this, that impersonalism is better, Lord Chaitanya became enraged. He forgot the external world. Dragging Advaita Acharya from his seat, Lord Chaitanya raised his fist and struck Advaita Acharya. Oh my God. Understanding everything, Advaita Acharya's devoted wife, who was the mother of the worlds, became agitated. She called out, he is an old Brahmin, spare him, spare his life. By punishing him, who do you teach? Well, wait a second. What more will you do to this old Brahmin? Why can you not leave him in peace? Hearing the saintly woman's words, Lord Nityananda smiled. Frightened, Haridas Thakur meditated on Lord Krishna. You can imagine he was going, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Angry, Lord Chaitanya did not hear the saintly woman's words. With angry words, she loudly rebuked Advaita. He loudly rebuked Advaita. I slept on the milk ocean. Then you woke me up to fulfill your mission. You brought me here to teach devotional service. Now you are hiding devotional service and teaching impersonalism. If you wanted to hide devotional service, if that was in your heart, then why did you bring me here to teach it? I did not go against your desire. Why do you cheat me? After thus rebuking Advaita, Lord Chaitanya sat down by the door. Then speaking in a loud voice, he revealed the truth about himself. It was I who killed Kamsa. Look, you know everything. Brahma, Shiva, and Lakshmi all serve me. My chakra killed the jackal Vasudeva. My chakra burned Varanasi. My arrow killed powerful Ravana. My chakra cut Badasura's many arms. My chakra killed Narakasura. I held the hill with my left hand. I brought the Parijata flower from Swargaloka. I cheated Bali. I gave him mercy. I killed Hiranyakashipu and rescued Prahlad. Hearing Lord Chaitanya reveal his own glories, Advaita floated in an ocean of ecstatic love. Attaining this punishment, Advaita became filled with bliss. Now humble and submissive, he clapped his hands and danced. He said, as I offended, so I was punished. The Lord was good to me. I only got a small punishment. Now I know that you are my master. You punished me for my misdeed. Lord, in my heart, I now have the strength to become your servant. Speaking these words, Advaita joyfully danced. Advaita joyfully danced everywhere in the courtyard. Then, knitting his eyebrows, he placed these words before Lord Chaitanya's feet. Where has your flattery of me gone? Where's all your cheating gone? I'm not Durvas, that you can insult me by anointing your limbs with the remnants of my meal. Neither am I Brigamuni, the dust of whose feet you happily keep on your chest as the Srivatsa mark. My name is Advaita. I'm your purest servant. Birth after birth, I yearn to taste the remnants of what you have eaten. The power of tasting what you have eaten has made me free of Maya. You have punished me. Now please give me the shade of your lotus feet. After speaking these words, Advaita humbly and devotedly fell to the ground and placed Lord Chaitanya's feet on his head. Respectfully picking him up, Lord Chaitanya embraced Advaita. Advaita wept without restraint. Seeing Advaita's devotion, Nityananda also wept. It was as if an ocean of tears flowed from their eyes. Falling to the ground, Haridas wept. Advaita Acharya's wife wept. Advaita's servants wept. Advaita's son Achyutananda wept. Advaita's home was filled with ecstatic love for Lord Krishna. Now Lord Chaitanya was embarrassed that he struck Advaita. To Advaita he happily offered a boon. He said, if anyone for even half a sesame seed's worth of time takes shelter of you, even if he be an insect, a worm, a beast, or a bird, or even if he has offended me 100 times, then I will give my mercy to him. So we should take shelter of Advaita Acharya. So thank you very much. We don't have time for questions. It's already over time. So today, being Advaita Acharya's appearance day, we are taking shelter of Advaita Acharya and begging him to give us shelter at Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. So thank you very much. We will see everybody tomorrow. Same time, same station. And we will continue with our Ramananda Samvada discussion. Haribol, all glories to Advaita Acharya. Srila Prabhupada.